We all have our favorite vampires, and I'm always going on about how much I love the Black Dagger Brotherhood series by J.R. Ward. So today I'm going to rank my top 5 brothers from the Black Dagger Brotherhood series by J.R. Ward and why I think they should be your favorites too. The Black Dagger Brotherhood series has been a staple of the paranormal romance series that I love to read, and I think it's one that in particular is very unique and very iconic in the genre. Now, I've done a whole different video on how you should read the series, meaning all the interconnected series and the correct order for you to have the best reading experience. So if you're just getting into the series, go ahead and watch that video so you know how to do it. But I have always considered J.R. Ward to be a unique experience in the genre because of her writing style. In particular, in this series, she writes in a very unique way. There are many things about her writing style that definitely make it feel like you're coming home to characters that you know and love every time you open up one of these books. I remember following the series for the past maybe 15 years, and as every single book would come out, and here at Under the Covers at the time, it was a group of 4 of us, and we would actually book time off of work that particular day, and we would just message each other back and forth, maybe pictures of us crying or throwing our books across the room if we were pissed at anything that was happening. So it was always such an event every time that there was a Black Dagger Brotherhood release. That should tell you that this is a very special series. It is definitely one that I consider should be on your TBR if you like anything paranormal or vampire related. As much as we've come to know Anne Rice or even the Twilight books for vampire romance, I think that J.R. Ward and the Black Dagger Brotherhood are on that same level. And in my opinion, because I love them so much more, I definitely think they're even higher. But we're here to talk about the brothers, and you might be here because you've already read the series and you want to know which ones are my favorites. But otherwise, if you are just tuning in for the first time and you haven't read the series yet, I'm not going to give out any spoilers. I'm just going to tell you what are some of the things that I absolutely love about these characters without telling you all of the things so that you're not getting those books spoiled just in case. We are doing top 5, so I'm going to start from number 5. And for this one, I'm going to go with a bit of a controversial one. And I feel like I had to think about this 5th one a lot. Like, which one did I want to put at number 5? For this one, I'm going to go with Quinn. And the HEA for Quinn is in the book Lover at Last. Now, the reason that I really love Quinn is because he is such a broken character. And we get to see a lot of that brokenness throughout the series because he is one of the few characters that we get to see from pre-transition all the way through as a major role within the Brotherhood and his connection to the other brothers and to Wrath and to John Matthew and everyone. So I feel like we've kind of grown up with Quinn, and we've seen a lot of heartache and a lot of suffering that he's had to endure. And I think a lot of times he comes across as a very immature character, but a lot of that deep down, he is such a deep, loyal, caring, I was going to say person, but vampire. I just absolutely love seeing that whole progression with him, and the fact that he is such a strong rock within the Brotherhood and for his friends. He is definitely someone that is dependable, that you can count on, and he's going to be there no matter what if someone needs him. Now, that may also mean that sometimes he will make you incredibly mad, and I definitely have had my ups and downs with him. I mean, if I think back on the book The Chosen, I wasn't probably going to be thinking anything nice about him at that point. However, seeing the overall story of his character, he always is one that I always come back to and I care about and I want to see him do good. And it's actually really fun that now we're getting a bit of a kind of second generation wave in the new books, and we do actually have a chance to see him as a parent. So I'm super excited about that, and definitely I have a soft spot for Quinn. Now, coming in at number 4, I have Revenge. Revenge's book is Lover Avenged. So Revenge is technically not a brother, and he's also the morally gray hero of this bunch. He's done some things, he's seen some things, but when you get to see his actual story, because you definitely have a certain opinion of him as you're reading the first 7 or 8 books in the series, and then you finally get to his story, and I feel like you get to dig so deep into why he does the things he's doing and a lot of what he's had to go through, and it's absolutely amazing to see the kind of person he is. I said person again, but I'm also not going to tell you exactly 100% what he is so that you don't get spoiled either. But Revenge is a total badass. If you like your heroes to be, again, a little bit morally gray, a little bit on the dark side, then you'll definitely really love him. And I also really love the fact that his heroine, who is actually, by the way, one of my favorite heroines in this series, probably also within top 5 of the heroines for me in the series, but there is a nice balance between her and Revenge, so where he's more dark than she's a bit of light, but she can definitely also hold her own with him. So I think that the connection between them and like the whole harmony of that relationship works so well, and it just makes you really love his character even more, I feel. But he definitely suits that spot where I am looking for the bad boy of the bunch. Now, number 3 is Zadist. His book is Lover Awakened, which is book 3 in the series. So we get this story way early on, and I feel like it was perfect because you are getting to really meet the core group of the Brotherhood, but that core group is also probably some of the most broken individuals, vampires again, because they have had centuries and millennia of suffering. I mean, these are some tortured heroes if I've ever seen any, and Zadist probably tops that list, I think, the most. Zadist in the past was a blood slave. That means that he's endured a lot of abuse, a lot of horrible things that happened to him. All of those things have made him who he is and how he is, and he can definitely be a bit scary. Now, I said before that Revenge is kind of like the bad boy pick. I know that Zadist is another bad boy pick, and it's one where you're actually wondering if he's gonna go to the dark side or not. At pretty much any moment, it's touch and go until we get to his book. Now, I recently reread Dark Lover, and Jan from Books Gen Rex and I did a whole episode dissecting that reread of Dark Lover, and if you want to tune into that, I'll leave that linked for you to check that out as well. But we actually touched on the fact of some of those moments that really stood out on the reread. One of those moments for me was from Zadist, because towards the end of the story, and I'm not going to spoil it, but we get to see some of that protective instinct that he has, especially as it relates to Beth and Wrath. And I feel like a lot of times he would come across as this really hardened warrior, and there was something so soft and loyal and caring, deeply caring inside of him. He was just showing it differently than others because that was the way that he could. And I think it's those little moments, especially as we lead up to his book, which obviously Chef's Kiss, so amazing, one of my favorite books in this series. But he is a character that we get to really see heal from a lot of hurt and a lot of things that have happened. A true tortured hero, but we see him evolve from that and slowly let others in. And all the way to reading The Beloved, which is the actual story about his daughter getting her own HEA, and we get to see him as the protective daddy. And yes, it's everything that you could possibly imagine that Zadist is going to be as a father. But it was also so tender, and I think that seeing him now all of these years later in that role and in that position and how he acted, there were so many things about it that just made me love him even more. So it's definitely one of those characters that you're going to basically grow up with him or see him change and through different stages of his life, and you're totally gonna fall in love with. Now, here's my top 2. So my number 2 is Rage. This is the beast. So Rage actually has a beast within him, and this beast comes out to, let's say, play when they are fighting with the Lessers, but it's also something that he's had to grapple with and deal with, and it's also the complete opposite to how he is physically, how he presents, because he's supposed to be this Hollywood good-looking beautiful man, again, vampire, and sometimes we may not even think what that's doing to him, but there is an emotional toll, and it's beautiful to see him finding his HEA in a woman that is so understated and just so lovely and so caring. And yes, they have their ups and downs and they have their difficulty and their struggles, but he still finds a way to fight through that. I mean, he is the type of hero that will fight through anything for the people that he loves. And yes, that means his Shellen and everyone else, but also it means the brothers, it means the race. I mean, he is loyal, he is dedicated, he's passionate. And of course, we're going to talk about the fact that yes, he is also a father, in this case, a stepfather, which we get to see a bit of that starting to come together in The Beast. And then continue on and develop more in Blood Vow. I think you can probably see a pattern here. I definitely love to see these big bad vampires fall in love with women that make them a little bit softer, and also they get even softer and maybe a little bit crazy when there's kids that start getting involved. I am particularly looking forward to the HEA about his daughter, which I am fully expecting that to be with the son of Wrath. But okay, so that was my prediction for that. Definitely Rage, top book boyfriend material. He is funny, he is protective, he is alpha, but he is caring, he's sweet, he's all the things wrapped in the perfect package. And now for my number one brother. I know lately we haven't gotten to see him much in the books, and I definitely miss him, and I can't wait for J.R. Ward to write more of him in future books. I can't wait to see more of him now that the brothers are starting to have their adult children getting their HEAs. I just need more of him in my life, so I'm still keeping my fingers crossed for that. And that is John Matthew. Now, I fell in love with John Matthew when he first came on the page as a pre-trans, struggling with his mental health, just really in a bad shape. He has no idea what he is. He is basically rescued from a horrible situation by Thor, and he's brought into the fold and into the Brotherhood and going through the training and hopefully making it through transition. And because we get to see all of that process, we get to see him starting from such a vulnerable position, and that connection that develops between him and Thor that's very much like a father figure to him. And then he's starting to explore life and his attraction, in particular his attraction to Hex, even as a pre-trans, which obviously is not well received. His friendships and his bromance with Quinn and Blay, and then later on becoming such a strong, solid rock for the Brotherhood and for the community, and then later on for his mate as well. When I think of like a solid hero, again vampire, I have to think of John Matthew. And granted, John Matthew still has to struggle besides, going through vampire transition and all of that. He is also mute. He never lets that be a deterrent. He figures out a way to fight his battles. You can't help but just swoon at his strength and at just all the beauty that he is. He is just such a sweet character. And that doesn't take anything away from the fact that he's also such a strong and sexy character as well. So top one for me will always be John Matthew, and I can't wait to see if J.R. Ward's going to give us more of him in the future. So there you have it. That is my top 5 in ranking for the brothers of the Black Dagger Brotherhood series. If you have read the series, I would love to know what are your top 5 as well. So leave those in the comments. And if you haven't read it yet, I definitely think that you need to make it a priority to start the series. Like I said, I did a book discussion with Jen from Books Gen Rex about Dark Lover. So I invite you to start book 1 and then go and listen to our discussion and leave me a comment there and let me know what you thought of it. Now, if you want to read more books from J.R. Ward, Suzanne and I did a video a little while ago where we actually went through some of her contemporaries as well, not just the paranormals. So you can check that out as well. And I definitely encourage you to try also her contemporaries. They're definitely a different vibe, but you should also not miss reading them. I'll see you over there.